Family Credit Management is a non-profit credit counseling agency. We specialize in helping people take control of their debt.
People call in every day. By the end of the call, they're feeling better. They know there's some hope out there.
For over a decade, Family Credit Management has helped tens of thousands of Americans deal with the burden of debt.
If you're struggling with debt, the most important thing is to take control of it. Now's the time.
Hey, good evening and welcome. We're back another week just to share with you about any types of financial issues or money issues that you guys are having. So for the next 25 minutes or so, feel free to give us a call. And if you have any questions, any concerns, anything that you want to share with us, give us a call at 312-738-1060. Now, if you don't get a chance to call in, totally understand. We do have counselors on standby that can answer any questions that you may have. Now, I want you to contact them at 800-994-3328. If you're not comfortable calling in or you're really tech savvy, you can also look up Family Credit's website at www.familycredit.org, and you can chat online with a counselor right then and there. That's just a really great feature because you can get your questions answered right then that you have, and you're dealing with a live representative that can help you. So any types of issues that you have, you can ask now or give Family Credit a call and ask later. Over the past few weeks, we've been dealing a lot with debt issues, so we're going to continue just talking about that a little bit. And today is Halloween, so I do want you all to just be mindful, stay safe, and remember to safely control your finances as well. Keep all that information private and locked away. Be careful of people that are coming in and out of your house because privacy is a huge topic right now. And so you want to be aware of those things when there are people that may be coming in and out or visiting your door. You want to make sure that you've taken the mail out of your mailbox so that they don't have access to that. Anyone walking in, make sure there's no personal information, no personal mail that's laying around that they may be able to pick up and take outside. So you want to be really, really, really careful about all your private information that you have laying around. And you may think, hey, no big deal, my kids' friends are coming in and out, and that's fine. But you don't know the type of person that you're letting into your house. So I do encourage you to think about it and make sure you got your information put up in somewhere safe. Now, we're going to get into our real topic today, which we've been talking a lot about credit. We've talked about bankruptcy over the past couple of weeks. We've talked about disputing items on your credit report. And today we really want to delve into what do you do if you don't have credit. So we just want to talk about how you can build credit if you don't have any. So if you've got any questions about that, I urge you to call in at 312-738-1060, and our screener will just get that question from you, and then you'll be live on the air and can ask that. So again, we're talking about how you can build credit when you don't have any. And the reason why we're talking about this is because this is a topic that a lot of people are thinking about nowadays. Now, I read an article that said that people when they are in their early 20s, they don't really think about credit. And I don't know if I agree with that or not, because I am seeing that the younger population, the millennials, they have an eye on their credit. And so we want to be mindful of that and thinking about what is it that I need? How can I make my credit work once I get out into the real world? And that's just a huge topic right now. So we want to just really delve into that. The first thing that you want to do is know where you are at, because we don't want, once you get into the real world, credit scores are what drives whatever you can do in your life. And in order to get financing for a car, to get a credit card, a lot of times to get an apartment or even to get a job, they're looking at your credit score. So you want to make sure that you have credit. Now, right now, you may not be able to get credit unless you're 21 years of age at least. Now, there's a lot of instances where you can, and that's pretty much if you are out on your own and you're not really living with your parents anymore, then you may be more likely to get credit when you're under 21, but you do have to prove it, and you have to prove that you're able to handle that credit responsibly. So sometimes you may have to show some documentation, show that you do have a lease, you do have regular utility bills, and you've got income coming in, so you're able to make those payments. And so that's something that a lot of people aren't aware of. So we'll delve into that a little bit. But right now we've got our first caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
I purchased a car when my credit score was not good, and the interest rate on the loan is 9%. Since then, I have improved my credit score, and I was wondering what options I have to get the rate down.
Okay. And for something like that, when you purchased an auto loan and you got a 9% rate, if your credit isn't good, that's probably an okay rate. But you can always ask for better. So if you've improved your credit, you know your credit standing has improved, first thing you can do is go to your auto lender and see if there is anything that they can do to offer you a lower rate. Sometimes they may want you to refinance the whole loan. They may want to see if you want to trade in the car or something like that. But remember, stick to your guns. You are just looking for a lower interest rate, so you want to let them know that. Then if that's not an option, you can also look at going to another lender to see if they will give you an auto loan, paying off the existing loan that you have, but give you a new loan at a lower interest. A lot of lenders will do that for you, and sometimes credit unions are more likely to do something like that, or you can talk to your personal banker and just see if that's an option for you. So anytime that you've improved your credit, it is a good idea to try and reward yourself by saving money, and saving money on interest is a good way to do that. Now, when we're talking again about how to establish credit when you don't have any. You need to be prepared, like I said. You don't want a shock to your system, and you do not want to go somewhere and expect to receive credit or expect to receive some sort of financing or even approval for something like an apartment, and you don't want to be turned down. So you need to prepare yourself before you get there. Maybe take a few months and see right now if there's anything reported to the credit bureau for you. It's possible that it's possible that you've been entered into the credit bureau system and they've started to keep track of your activity. Now, a lot of people wonder, well, how does my information even get to the credit bureaus? That happens the first day you actually apply for credit. Whether you get it or whether you're turned down, the first time that you actually are initiating that's when the credit bureaus get your information. Now, if you have student loans, of course, that's when you've been entered into the credit bureau's tracking system because you applied for a student loan and now you have it. So that information has to be on your credit report. So see about pulling your credit and seeing if you have a score first off. You can do that by using annualcreditreport.com just to see if there's anything there. And that way you get your report. Or you can try using someplace like Credit Karma or Credit Sesame to see if they have you in the bureau. Now you'll be able to pull up your information, see your score, or you probably may even just get nothing being reported. If you get nothing being reported, then we know that it's time for you to sit down and think about what comes next. Let's work on getting that credit. Now, there's a couple options out there for you if you do not have credit, and we'll take a look at those. The first thing that I want to talk about is just looking at getting a regular credit card. A lot of times you can't really get a credit card though, but it's always worth trying to see if you can. A great place for you to go is bankrate.com, where they have a listing there for you. You can just pretty much tell what type of card you're looking for, and they have student credit cards too. So if you're under 21 or around 21, you don't have credit, you've never really been in the credit bureau system, you can try getting a student card that's issued by a bank and reported to the credit bureau. That's going to really help your score. If you are going through it and you look at the student cards, you submitted your application and you find out that you do not qualify, don't be discouraged. Next thing you want to do is look at getting a secured card. Best place you can do that at, you can look at bankrate.com, or you can also go to your personal bank. Wherever bank you are at, you can go in and ask them if they have a secured account. And you can apply for that and start there. The thing about a secured card is that it's just like a regular credit card, only you are the one that's actually putting the money down for it. So if you want a credit card, let's say you only have $200 or $300, it's okay. You put that down, they put it into an account. A lot of times that account draws interest, and you are not able to touch that money only because they're using that money as collateral for your credit card. So what you're essentially saying is, I know you're giving me this credit card. I plan on making payments each and every single month. But if something happens, if something goes wrong, and I can't afford the credit card, or I can't afford to make my payment, the account defaults, and therefore it starts to charge off because I haven't been able to make a payment in about 3 or 4 months, they will use the money that you've put down as collateral to bring that account current, so that that way you don't have a debt there because they're using the money you put down to actually pay that account off. Also, with the secured account, you want to keep in mind that you do have to make your payments each and every single month. So if you're able to put down, maybe let's say $300, that's a great amount to start with. If you can do more than that, that just strengthens your credit because now it shows that you have more available credit as well. Looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, yes. So my mom recently had to retire because of some health problems. She owes quite a bit of credit card debt. I believe it's over like $20,000. I just wanted to know if you could maybe give me some options, because in the upcoming months she's not going to be able to make payments or getting her applied for Social Security, and she really doesn't have any savings or retirement, anything like that. What can she do for these debts?
Well, a good thing for you to do is just be able to sit down with your family and see if there's anyone that can help her out. I don't know what your budget looks like, or if your relatives, your brothers or sisters, if you guys are able to help out with your mom's debt too, because I know she probably doesn't want to have that debt go delinquent. So that's a starting point. The next thing you want to do, if she cannot pay it, you guys cannot pay it, you want to look at some options. And there's counselors at Family Credit that can actually help you with that. They can help you go over a budget, give you some resources for organizations or other things that you may be able to qualify for, so that you can get some help with that debt. The only thing that you can't ignore it. That debt will not go away, but it's best for you to be able to figure out what you can do, what your mom can do, and what your family can do to help with that. Credit card companies, they all have programs that will help you out for a couple of months. But if this is going to be a long-term thing, I do suggest that you speak with a counselor just to find out what your options are. And counselors are waiting on standby at Family Credit, and they've got some great information, great tips for you to call in and just find out more information about. But just know that you are not alone. A lot of people are struggling with debt like that, and are struggling with those relationships too, because you want to make sure that you keep things in good standing. So you do have to do what's best for you, and contacting a counselor can help you with that. Now, we're back to talking with what you can do as far as rebuilding credit when you don't have it. We talked about the secured accounts. Another thing that I want to talk about is actually trying to find a secured loan. Now, I'm not talking about going to like those high finance companies or anything like that, or people that are trying to charge you an arm and a leg and you're not really getting anything, but I am talking about going to your banking institution, your financial institution, whatever credit union you use. Make sure that they are insured with the FDIC or the NCAU. That's how you can really find out if you are dealing with a reputable lender. And you want to ask them, do they have any credit rebuilding products? A lot of banks have quite a few, and they're able to help you with that. Some of them you may have to put down a security deposit, just like we talked about using the funds with a secured credit card account. You can do the same thing with these types of loans. Great thing about them is that they are reported to the credit bureau, and that's what you want to make sure of. Whatever you get, whatever you do, whether it be the credit card or the loan, you want to make sure that it's reported to the credit bureau, because that's the purpose of you actually getting it, right? To establish credit. I know some people will pick the wrong type of account, and so you do want to be careful about that. They are advertised and they may say, hey, we can help you establish credit, get our deposit account, have your paychecks deposited onto this card, and then that's it. But those really aren't rebuilding your credit. They aren't helping your credit at all. First question you want to ask is, do you report to the credit bureaus? Because that's what's important here. Now, after you've looked at that, another option that you may want to look at is a store account or a small account like that. Some people get like small accounts at a furniture store or something like that. Again, you want to see, do you report to the credit bureau? That's the number one important thing. And make sure that you can afford the payment, number two, because you want those payments to report and you want them to report on time. Now, realize that when you look at establishing your credit and you are making those decisions to try and make things better, I want you to realize it does take time. And it's not an overnight thing to try and establish your credit. But once you get it going, your credit is just stronger and you're able to rebuild and continue building on your credit. Looks like we've got another caller. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing great.
How can we help you today?
I received a summons from an old credit card that I forgot I had. Now I have to go to court and pay the full amount that I owe. Was wondering if you have any suggestions on how I should handle this?
Okay. Now when you're dealing with summons, you actually receive a summons that say you have to go to court, pay attention to that because that is real. You should be trying to work towards resolving that debt. If any way possible, if there's something you can do to pay that debt off, you need to do that. Now, if there's no way for you to do that, then it is what it is, but you need to go to court and you need to talk to the judge about it. A lot of times when you go to court, the judge will be lenient towards you, especially if you go and you explain your situation. So let them know I have this debt, totally forgot about it, didn't realize it, haven't received any notifications from them, now I get this summons, but I don't have any money to pay it, or I can only afford this amount on it each and every single month. When things go through the court system, typically they will give grant a garnishment if you don't show up. And typically that garnishment can be anywhere between 15 to 25% of each and every single paycheck until that debt is paid off. Now you don't want them to take money out of your paycheck, but if you can set up a repayment plan, and sometimes, most of the time, the judge will give you time to say, okay, this is what I can afford, or this is when I can start paying. But you do need to show up, you do need to say something, so keep that in mind. If you've got a summons, you don't know what to do, think about that. Contact a counselor. They can give you some more advice and help walk you through that situation. And sometimes they're able to help you set up arrangements with that lender to avoid you actually having what's called a judgment placed on your report. And judgments, if you actually get a judgment placed on your report, that will stay on your report indefinitely if you don't pay it off. And if you do pay it off, it stays as long as 7 years from the date you paid it off. So it's still going to take time, which is why if you can avoid having that judgment placed at all, do that. Again, contact a counselor, Family Credit, 800-994-3328, because that is a serious situation that you really do need to get some help with. Now, we were talking about how much time it takes when you're trying to establish credit. Again, it's not an overnight process. Anytime you get a new account and is reported to the credit bureaus, it takes a few months before it actually begins to start helping your credit. And sometimes what you find is when you get that new credit card account, if you've got a score, a lot of times it will lower that score before it actually starts to make things better. And that's normal. So don't be scared when you realize, hey, I'm got a small decrease in my score and I thought this was going to help. Keep in mind, you've got a brand new trade there, so there's no history. So we do need to give it a couple of months before that account can actually start reporting to the credit bureau. It'll report your payment and it'll report your credit line, so as well as your balance. So you want to keep that in mind, that we are waiting a couple of months before that actually takes hold. Sometimes it can be as long as 3 months, but if you're staying diligent on the account, paying attention to your statements, and if you think anything is wrong or you've got problems, contact that creditor. And you can even contact your creditor and ask, hey, when do you guys report to the credit bureau? Hey, what information are you reporting to the credit bureau? So that way you know ahead of time what you're getting yourself into. Always be diligent, always look at your report, and if you need to keep track of everything now that you're looking at reestablishing your credit, please feel free to go to annualcreditreport.com. Best place for you to get your credit report. and it's free. So you can look at your credit, you can see what's on there, and you can see how it's affecting things, and make sure that it's always reporting positive on your credit report. Another thing that people use when they try to improve their credit is they try to become an authorized user on someone else's account. And a lot of times, authorized user, yes, what happens is if you're authorized on someone's account, that means that they're saying yes, the credit bureaus have permission to report your account history on someone else's report. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. It really just depends on the status of your account. But we do want you to be careful when you're thinking about doing something like that, because a lot of times we can't keep accounts in good standing. They're positive and they're current and they're reporting, and yes, that's great. But what happens when something goes wrong? If your child is authorized user on your account and you're not able to pay that account, what happens is not only are you having a hit to your score, but you're affecting their score as well. And you don't know how much that's going to hurt things. So you don't even want to get yourself into that if you can avoid it. But it is out there, and some people do use it. So that's what an authorized user is. It just says that, hey, I give you permission to be on my account. You can use the account, but you can't really make changes to it. And a lot of times you'll get a card for that too. So keep that in mind. A lot of people use that. And some people use that and call it the piggybacking approach. So some places will look out for that. And so they won't extend you credit, or they won't be able to use that account. And other places will. Just really depends on where you are going for credit. Then another thing that you want to look at when you're establishing credit is keeping it. Once you start getting that positive history reporting, you want to make sure that it stays that way. Remember, we talked about that secured account where you can put down $300? So if you're putting down the $300, you always want to make sure you stay under 30% of your credit limit. Anytime you're starting to use all of that available credit, then lenders see you as desperate. So if you've got a $500 credit limit, you want to make sure that you keep that balance low. Once that balance hits $250, guess what? Your score is really going to take a hit. They say that the people with the highest scores only use 7% of their available credit. And if you've only got a $200 card, that means that you're really not using that much. So you want to make sure that you keep that low. Also keep in mind that you do want to be able to use the account. Just don't go crazy, don't go overboard, and when you use the account, make sure that you're making your payments on time, and at least making your minimum payments so that some activity is reported to the credit bureau, because you want to show that you're able to use this card responsibly. Now, all these cards, when you first get them, sometimes they start at a higher interest rate, but as you work on improving your credit and improving your score, a lot of times you are able to get something at a better interest rate. And you just keep that in mind. The young lady that called about the auto loan and trying to get a lower score, just keep in mind, as you go and you make payments, a lot of times you can get a better deal from someone else. So you want to look at all your offers, keep your options open, make sure you keep all of these accounts that you just opened, whatever account you've got, make sure you keep that open too. Don't ever close out an account. If you start to close out accounts, that actually decreases the amount of accounts that you have reporting on your credit bureau report, and it decreases the credit limit that you have available. You want to be able to show these lenders that you can use credit and you can use it responsibly, and you can't do that if you close an account. And I know years ago people did believe that closing the accounts were the way to go if you aren't using them. Don't do that anymore. I want to see that whatever you have, you've got, and you've kept it open for as long as you can. So if you've got any questions, feel free to contact a certified counselor at 800-994-3328. And remember, we'll be back next week, so if you have some other questions or some things that you want to share with us, or just any thoughts and ideas about debt, finances, money management, anything like that, feel free to give us a call in, and we will be back next week. See you then.